curiosity, why?
Mad Bricks webcast,
Where the human spirit flies. Mad Bricks webcast, where the human spirit flies.
Hey, welcome to the Medbix webcast. This is Ramana Annamaraju. Ramana is good enough to call me. I'm a vagabond. I move around all over Silicon Valley. Every different towns. Silicon Valley is like a 20-mile radius. Every 5 miles, the different town. Fremont, Sunnyvale. I'm in Fremont now. Sunnyvale. You have Milpitas and Palo Alto, Stanford. Last night I was at Stanford. So I had a dinner with one of the guests actually. That's interesting. Let me bring my co-host, beautiful, bold, and brainy. All of them, And then she got a new hairstyle. Looks like. Welcome, Susan Davis, Dr. Susan Davis.
Good evening, Ramana Vagabond. And listen, it takes one to know one. I'm also around, so coming live from Phoenix, Arizona this evening. It's my same old hair.
Yeah. Phoenix, Arizona. Thank God you're in December or is a cold. Usually you don't want to go in the summertime in Phoenix. It's a very, oh my God. Even 8 o'clock in the morning, I was hot one time there.
Well, it's freezing now. No worries. It's like 40s. So
Oh
this
my
Florida
God,
girl,
really?
like I'm the most layered person here. I just took a jacket off to get on the air. So
So what are you doing up there? Just give us a little bit of, what is going on there.
yeah. So this is the coolest, my most favorite conference. It only happens every 2 years. It is the Citizen CPR Foundation Cardiac Arrest Survival Summit. So for the whole week, we have the greats of the greats from all over the world, from resuscitation to practice, and resuscitation are here. So it's from survivors, co-survivors, the researchers that create our science, the clinicians who put it to the streets, our community members, you name it. So I'm here presenting on a couple different stages with my colleagues, and I'm truly thrilled to be here. It's an honor.
Oh, that's a very important, discussion of cardiac arrest is. You must have seen a lot of new advances out there. Or you new things coming up, new procedures, all those saving lives. That's a lot of new things you're teaching and
Well,
learning same time.
so it's the kickoff just tonight. I've been here I actually presented in a pre-conference for our heart safe communities, which is super cool. But it's the kickoff right now, which is why I'm not going to stay the whole show because I've got to get to the kickoff. But I haven't heard any of the crazy new stuff, and I really can't wait. We just had the opening ceremony, and they really did a history of resuscitation, from the original bellows on up to, I did hear one super cool thing just before running across the street here. Mitochondria transplant. What? Post-arrest, right? So anyone who knows anything about mitochondria, we know that there's lots of them in any cellular structure that uses a lot of energy, and then the heart is one of those. So like somewhere, I don't know, 10,000 mitochondria in a myocardium cell. So it's in the research stage, but how about that? Mitochondria.
Yeah. We talked about mitochondria frequency one time, but
Yes, we
anyway,
did.
let me bring our guest. She's waiting. She's from Julie Chessell from Canada. She's a legal nurse, mom warrior. She spent a lot of time in the liver transplantation. She's a true mom warrior. She's the advocate for the liver transplantation. I don't even know nothing much about the liver transplantation. I know about kidneys because I know all alcoholics. So so I don't know that much about the liver transplantation. She can explain to us, Julie Chessell. Welcome, Julie Chessell from Canada.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening, Julie.
Good evening. Thanks for having me, Romana and Susan. It's great to see you.
Yeah, I'm scared of between the two nurses, but I'm going to try my best. Julie, tell us, your personal story a little bit, until now, why became a so powerful advocate for the liver transplant. And what is a liver transplant? First of all, explain to us what is a liver transplantation first. Adult transplantation or pediatric transplantation. Just explain a little bit and then use a technical term. Both of you can talk together after that.
Well, as a nurse, I could get technical, but we will just kind of keep it light and airy. As we know, we can transplant lots of organs, right? The heart, the skin, the eyes, every lungs. But liver transplants are probably one of the best transplants to get. You can get half of somebody's liver, whether it's a living donor or a deceased donor. And what they call that is a split graft. So they can actually split a liver and give it to two people when they need a liver transplant. So that's pretty incredible.
Yes.
That's more a deceased donor. But when they give somebody half a liver on one side and half a liver to somebody else, that liver regenerates. So it regrows. And that's the only organ in our body that actually does that. So it's pretty cool.
That's wild. Well, so I mean, going back to your original story from the bio, your son needed a liver transplant, and so you kind of skipped ahead to one of my questions where you think about think about it. I don't know how old your son was, but with the glioblastoma, is that right? No, hepatoblastoma.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking this is a very young child, and then you're thinking about, wow, the size of the liver, and I knew it would regenerate, but so you answered that question, right? So tell us about your son, and did he have to have a piece of a liver because of the size that was available at the time?
So he actually was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. So it was pediatric liver cancer called hepatoblastoma. And it's usually diagnosed in 0, so baby, up to 3 years of age. So it's super rare. Probably 2 in a million kids get diagnosed with it. So super rare to start. And he was actually diagnosed at 12. So super rare that he was that old. Yeah. Isn't that wild? So
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty devastating, obviously. Number 1, we have cancer. Number 2, we have this transplant piece. Starting the cancer journey, we never really thought we would get into a transplant journey. That never crossed our palate that we would eventually need a liver transplant. We just were in the chemo world or the cancer world for a long time. So he had 16 rounds of chemotherapy. Obviously, they failed. Yeah. So he had some metastases to his lungs. So the chemo cleaned up his lungs a little bit, but didn't touch his liver. When he was diagnosed, we were told that he possibly could have a liver resection. So that, as you know, is taking a piece of where the cancer is out. So leaving his original liver in there and then carrying on because it would regrow again. So when he got diagnosed, about a week later, we were told it was inoperable. So that meant that we needed to kind of navigate the chemo world and cross our fingers and pray for the best. So 16 rounds of failed chemotherapy. He was deemed palliative. So we knew, unfortunately, where we were going to bury him. We kind of, just lived every day as it were the last. We let him eat ice cream for breakfast. We kind of, let him just do what he needed to do at 12 years of age. And this boy is a fighter. He was playing AAA hockey and AAA baseball at the time of diagnosis. When he went into emerge, and you will appreciate this, Susan, his blood pressure was 210 over 108 as a 12-year-old. So that his body, yeah. So his cancer was pressing all on those veins that, you know what I mean. So his body was compensating, right? Just having that level of sports. So he was palliative. We just kind of, went about our day. I have 2 other sons, one older, one younger. And I pushed for one more MRI, one more CT. And the lungs had actually cleared up enough that we got to be assessed for a liver transplant. And that was a devastating blow for us because that's a whole different ball of wax than just cancer. We actually found out that his cancer was half pediatric cancer and half adult cancer. So it's called, HCC-NOS. Yeah, that's what they diagnosed it as. So it's kind of crazy story.
Yeah. So now you find yourself on the list, right? Are you on the waiting list? The infamous waiting list?
Yeah. So I'm in Ontario, Canada. It works very differently from the US to Canada. So we're on the list. Brock got put on, and according to his cancer and his age, he was pretty much at the top of the list. It's called the MELD score. And you get, according to, if you have comorbidities and different, health things that put you up top. And after 30 days, you get higher. So we waited 6 weeks for a liver. Yeah, we had one false call, which is devastating because
Oh,
yeah. So you get a call saying you need to come right now. We have a liver, and then we pack everybody up because my other 2 kids were going with us. And my husband actually had blown his knee apart, so he was on crutches in a wheelchair. And they called us back an hour later and said, sorry, it's not good enough. So it's a blessing in disguise because you want that liver to be the best that it can be for your child, right? So 6 weeks. So we got another call, and we waited 6 weeks. We know that it was not in the province of Ontario, but that's all we know. So when I say that it's very different in the US compared to Canada, it's very tight with health information as far as donor versus recipient. We don't know if it was a male or female. We don't know the age. We don't know health history, nothing like that. And we probably never will. Whereas I know people in different areas of the world that are able to meet their donors or meet the families of their donors. So it's a little bit different here.
so how old is he now?
So Brock is 19, so 7 years ago. So we celebrated his 7-year cancer-free liver transplant anniversary. We call it a liver-versary.
A liver-versary.
And that was in August. So he's 19. He's in second year university in Ontario here, and he is doing well. We've had lots and lots of bumps along the way. We are followed super closely. He's had multiple surgeries. He's gone into rejection twice, but kept the liver. And it's just, knock on wood, every day is a gift. And we are so grateful to our donor because it was a deceased donor. So kind of where the question was about that split graft, we didn't have that option. When we were put on the list, we asked for one of us to be a live donor. So if I matched, I would have had half my liver go to Brock. And actually, he wasn't a candidate for live donor because he needed so much of a liver with all the plumbing of the liver. So he needed a deceased donor. So it was a waiting game. And as a parent, or as a human being, really, a human being, you're combing the paper, the news, the internet, praying, and how awful. We're all medical here, right? We're praying for somebody to pass away. That's not in our DNA as medical people, right? We are the ones that save. We're the ones that help. And as a parent, I had to take that medical hat off and put that parent hat on and pray. And it's an awful feeling to pray for somebody to die. So I struggle with that, sometimes in the dark hours when I'm tired and I'm awake at the hospital, doing my job there as a nurse. So lots of different facets that you go through, lots of different waves of emotion.
Hats off to Julie. I tell you, when you say I'm looking for a burial place, that's our 2 children. I can feel, oh God, it hits you very direct. You know that, I lived in Canada for a while. I lived in Montreal, and so very different system. There's a logistical problem. The U.S. has our system is completely broken system here. Nobody knows what is a headless chicken here. What is, do you feel that is a better, they responded better for you in Canada for this kind of a process? Tell us a little bit your journey. I'm not talking about medical challenges or logistical or non-medical challenges that you went through. You explained a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that, and also I didn't ask you about the rejection process. You know, the when you do this transplantation, you need to do the rejection, right? So how do you? There's all this. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown on this emotional and and logistical problems in financial things in Canada also?
He only just asked you 50 questions. The emotional, the
Yeah.
physical, the financial. We'd like to know the. Did you take notes, Julie?
Kind of.
Just pick one.
Right?
She
Exactly. Exactly.
went,
Let's kind of go back and pick one.
she
at a
doesn't
time.
need notes, Susan. She went through
Oh,
it. That's
she's a
right.
nurse. She already noted all of those. So just sorry, Julie.
Let's pick out the rejection piece. So the medication piece. So Brock came out of that transplant. I mean, he was on medication for the cancer, a lot of medication, but coming out of that transplant piece, they actually gave us at Sick Kids in Toronto, voted one of the best hospitals in the world for children, but an actual tackle box, like a toolbox, like an actual toolbox that you would put hammers and screwdrivers, massive, like a massive toolbox to house his meds. So he came home and he was probably on 112 pills a day. It was wild. And he had a port in his chest. We needed IV, different medications. But Brock is now forever on immunosuppression. That's, as we know, so his body won't reject that liver. He can't get off of that. There are studies in the world that are trying to get, if you have a cirrhosis or, biliary atresia or some virus that attacks the liver, some of those people are able to get off immunosuppression if they do have a transplant for a liver. But because Brock was cancer, he'll forever have to be on immunosuppression. So he's a 19-year-old. He's in university. You know what? He does a pretty good job. Does he, miss a day here and there? Absolutely. I would expect him to, probably do that because he's 19 and he's busy. He plays sports. He's got jobs, but forever. And it is not cheap. It is $675 a month just for medication, just for
Yikes.
one medication that he's on. That's just one. So that is a lifelong journey for him. And he's going to have to, as a mama bear, mama warrior, I'm still kind of in that realm of,
That medication is free in Canada, right? You don't have to pay from your pocket. In Canada, it's all free. All the entire medical care is free, right?
So we pay a little bit of it because it's such a specific medication. So we pay about half per month, which is tough because it's expensive. So, we try really hard to encourage him to be independent, but we also, are on him a little bit. I still do every morning. Have you taken your medication?
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think the mom's going to quit on that one.
No.
19, no, I'm going to be like, mm-hmm. I see you. Julie, what about nutrition? Is there anything different he has to do about his nutrition? Is he healthy in that sense, or is he 19?
He's a 19-year-old boy who does not love fruits and vegetables. He's a carb monger, right? Where he just pasta and chips and breads. But I mean, fairly healthy. He doesn't gain weight really easily, but he's healthy enough, I would say. Yeah. So he just has to be really careful that he's not getting run down. He has to be really careful that he doesn't have grapefruit. That's one of the things. He's not allergic to it, but he can't have grapefruit of any kind because of the immunosuppression. So that's something. There's lots of little facets that you learn as you go. Yeah. And then as far as all of the non-medical piece, it's something that you don't ever think that you're gonna have to endure. So financially, I was off work for almost 2 years. My husband was off work because his knee blew apart. So we were both off work thankfully, I was able to get some help through my job that I was on a sick leave for only 4 months out of those almost 2 years. So that was really tough. But we had a great family. We had supportive friends. We had a couple different, food drives and where people would bring meals. And as far as the psychological piece, you are in the trenches when this is happening. Again, that cancer piece, transplant piece, different, but all intertwined for us. So the trenches were deep for cancer and were super deep when they intertwined. So you're just going through it. You don't even have time to blink or breathe, really. So you don't actually know, you sit back and say, what just happened here? Kind of.
Like in the third person, it's like, was that me? Was that us?
Yeah.
Was that my family?
Yeah. Yeah. And I found that I didn't really digest stuff at the time. I digested it actually as a nurse more than a mom. And Brock will tell you still to this day, stop being a nurse and start being a mom.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Yeah, my family can't stand Nurse Ratched. They don't mind their mom. Well, I'm not sure. I think I'm out on both counts, but yeah, they would prefer Nurse Ratched.
Yeah. Well, you look good. I love it.
Well, thank you. So, Julie, they say, often pain becomes purpose, extremely painful, long journey. And now you seem, tell us about your advocacy. I think you've there's a lot of moms and I don't know. It's probably not a lot. It's probably not. Is it a lot? I mean, how many people, you said it was so rare, but there must be other cancers and children's cancers that you can still advocate for with your knowledge from this journey.
Yeah. So I don't know if, I was a nurse by choice or, God put me in this role to be able to be that voice for people that maybe can't have a voice. So like I said, I wear that nursing hat a lot. So when we got that diagnosis of cancer and got that transplant, we could have said, why me? Why us? But we turned that around to say, why not us? So I really, truly believe that we were given this to change lives, whether it's global health, whether it's advocacy right in Canada or around the world. So now I speak internationally regarding cancer, specifically liver cancer, and all pediatric cancer, as well as organ donation, as well as just parent caregiver support. So I'm heavily involved in the world of cancer and the world of transplant. There is a group of us moms that are the Hepatoblastoma Resource Network. I'm on
them? The Hepatoblastoma Resource Network.
I'm the director of strategic partnership. But this is my calling. If I could quit nursing and just do this advocacy in a heartbeat, I'd be saying goodbye to my patients. I'm a registered nurse in labor and delivery, NICU, and pediatrics and postpartum.
Oh, mom. I can't even get out of the elevator on the NICU floor. I'm just way too dirty. There's just no way. Bless you on so many fronts.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, but I would leave my nursing job all behind just to be able to speak and change lives and be that voice or that light to say, hey, you know what? It can come out on the other side. Not every case is the same, right? For transplant or cancer, but I'm going to be there with you. I'm going to maybe help you navigate the medical system a little bit or ask the right questions or be there on the phone when you're crying because you don't know what to do. That is my purpose and my calling now. And again, I will do this until I take my last breath. This is what I was meant to do, I think. So saying why not us? This is, I think, the reason why. And Brock advocates as well.
Romana.
Yeah.
You gotta love nurses. Look.
I had to. There's no choice.
I mean,
I think amazing. I hats off to Julie. What you went through, and you're still smiling and laughing, and hats off. That is not an easy journey for anybody in this world. I mean, you're a true champion in that sense. Susan has also taught me a lot of things. This is saving lives, and your nurses are very compassionate in general. I work with a lot of doctors. Always I think that nurses are the first connection to the patient. You are the first ones to meet, and you understand, you feel that, and sometimes I think they are the true advocates, in fact, for the healthcare system. And yeah, what kind of public misconception about this public, when you talk about with the public and public advocacy, what kind of things people say to you, what kind of misconceptions they have, misunderstandings?
As far as liver transplant, Romana, you mean?
Liver transplant, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, in
I
pediatrics,
don't know anything about liver transplant. I'm a zero. I tell the Susan always, I'm not a doctor, but acting one on the TV. So you have to.
He does such a good job. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, Julie, every nurse should have a bestie that's a physicist. It's a pretty cool arrangement.
that's awesome. Can I be your besties now too?
Yes, 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 yes.
As far as transplant goes, you might think, well, I'll just get put on the list and I'm going to get my liver or my heart, or it doesn't have to be just liver, but organs in general. It's going to be right away. Some people wait a couple years. Some people actually die on the wait list. Now, in Canada, we're
Right.
super fortunate that, it's a different system than the US, but I do know that in the US right now, the kids that need livers are actually dying on the wait list. It's not okay. They're prioritizing adult liver transplants, I believe, uh, rather than kids right now. So
What? That doesn't make any sense. That's just the
yeah,
sorry, out with the old and with the new. I mean, easy for me to say because it's not my family member. I mean, how do you prioritize? But just a little bit of research I did, just knowing I was going to talk to you as I was running in between my sessions. I was like, oh. I mean, we're nurses. We know a lot, Romana. We know a lot about a lot of things, but every human
Yeah.
condition is a specialty. So, and we just can't know them all. So this is such a dynamic. In fact, I was there. My friends Julie were asking me, "Where are you going?" I said, "Are you kidding me? I've got this nurse who's a pediatric liver specialist, and she's an advocate for peds getting livers. I gotta go." And they're like, "Oh, tell us about it." So they're all waiting to hear about you. So I can't stay long, but I do want to share that I'm just. Of course, I love you because you're a nurse. I love Romana because he's my best friend. But together, our whole goal is advocacy and awareness and bringing every bit of information from the people that come on our show to the people, to the streets. So, we will be happy to push any information you want to share with us here in the States. And we have a global audience too. So, and I'm here with a global audience. We don't care. We're not, we don't discriminate on organ parts. Like we dig livers.
yeah.
Hmm.
We dig them.
I dig them. And I became an expert and I didn't need to, right? But now I'm an expert in a whole different sense that I never really thought I would be. And it's helping other people, whether they're in North America or whether they're in Europe or Africa, or, I have connections all over the world. And my purpose is just to get that information out and make liver transplant accessible to everybody. Just because you live somewhere else doesn't mean you shouldn't have a shot at life, right?
Yep.
So it also,
Same conversation. That's the same thing we're doing here. I mean, I too I had zero intention of becoming a cardiac arrest, education specialist and community awareness specialist. And it's the same thing. I think it's just in our DNA as nurses too. It's like a dog on a bone. Like we're not going to stop. There's no stopping.
Susan has a special, thing in Canada.
Oh
I
yeah.
think she was granted yeah. So of the show, you can talk together about it. So both you can help each other transfer knowledge and all those things. Susan, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to. I know you took time out of this busy schedules and joined with me, and I'm grateful to you. Thank you so much. And if you need to run anytime, you
Yep.
can
I'm going to
rush
split,
out.
but thank you. I'm blessed. I'm so happy to meet you, Julie. Thank you so much for what you do. I'm so pleased that your son's now, rotten and 19 and stinky and horrible, just like all the rest of them. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss your education piece. It's my favorite part, but I will when I come back, I'm gonna watch the rest of your show. So thank you so much for sharing your story with me and with our audience. We'll talk offline because we've got stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besties.
Bye, Ramona. Thank you
Thank,
both.
thank you, Susan.
Bye bye.
Bye. So, yeah, let me let me ask you, the Julie. I know that what is going on in the world itself. I remember liver transplantation happened in Silicon Valley with Steve Jobs needed a liver transplant. He was going from here to Memphis, all the way to Memphis. He flew down and got the liver transplant. Is it a big difference between the adult transplant and the pediatric transplant?
Well, I think it's the same premise because actually in Ontario, it's the adult liver transplant surgeons that do the pediatric transplant. So the action itself or the surgery itself is not that different. It's just working in a different space, a different cavity that's smaller. So they have to adjust. As far as distance, like if you say Steve Jobs went to Memphis, we had to be in our big center in Toronto. We knew that the liver that Brock got was not in Ontario because they had to go get it through the night. So usually they stick to the provinces, but I know in the States they try and stick to their home state. But if they need to go out, they will. Yeah.
I don't know much about liver transplantation. My friend, one of very good friend of mine, I don't want to tell names, but is over 75, he's 75 years old, and he gave one of his kidneys to his daughter, and then they said that did not match, but there is a new technology, new kind of innovations coming up, and then you don't have to be matching anymore. You can put anything, and then you can do certain genetic gene therapy. I don't know how they do that. So do you know anything about it? There's anything you can put in without checking the rejection process?
So I don't know a lot about that per se. I know that there's so much technology coming out as far as, the heart, is able to do different things, the kidney. That's pretty amazing. I don't know a lot about that. I think that they are really careful with pediatrics because that liver is supposed to last them a lifetime. So I'm so happy to hear that your friend did that for his daughter. I'm not so much knowledgeable about what you just commented on, but I mean, it's like the cancer world. They're coming out with CAR T cells and gene therapy and all these different things, whatever, liquid biopsies. But as far as transplantation, it's not as, maybe researched as cancer, but it's coming to the forefront. And it depends on whether you live in a world where you're signing or having your donor card, right? There's a big conversation around should it be an opt-in or an opt-out for that organ donation piece when you have your license. So that's a whole other conversation as well.
So I'm going to do a small presentation. After that, I come back and ask you about the different people, alcoholic problem. Alcoholics, how do you do the liver transplantation for the alcoholics? I know plenty of them, so you can tell me what is the options for them. It's a United States, we are going through a lot of stresses, so you can give them some kind of a hope. So let me present my topic, and you're going to watch it, and you can come and jump in anytime. This is something that related to cancer also. You will see what are the advances going on in cancer in the detection side. You can see that. Navya, can you bring the presentation one? Yeah, that bring the presentation, please. Yeah, and put the on the side. On the side. Yeah, but let me talk about this one. This is Julie Chessell. She is joining from Canada. She's the first of this month, December month. Next tomorrow, I'm going to have a very good friend of mine. She's a therapist, psychotherapist. She practices in Bronx. And then Abhi Kachinathan is talking. He's a doctor, medical supervisor. He's a doctor, and he's a medical director for the nursing home. We want to know what is goes on in the nursing homes, and then after that, I'm going to get my best friend. She is going to be a singer in December, right? Christmas holidays. She's a very well-known singer. She sang in front of Taj Mahal with a Celine Dion and Whitney Houston. So she's going to come in after that. One of the powerful Silicon Valley executive, investor, brilliant engineer, Dr. Kanwal Rekhi is coming in. Then there is a very well-known, world-recognizing Dr. Evan Alexander who went through the near-death experience. So we are having a very beautiful December month, starting with a wonderful lady, Julie Chessell. Let me tell you that that is, I'm going to talk about electricity and a little bit of a law of, something is how it does. Law of karma, very interesting, right? In 1983, Benjamin Libet is a Dr. UC Davis doctor. What he did was a physicist actually. He did an experiment. It's called a Libet experiment. It really shaken the world of neuroscience. It's called. He experimented on a thing called readiness potential. What is that? Is electrical signal before awareness. What they found out in the brain before he decides something actually is already brain decided for you. That's very strange. Suppose you want a Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to choice. The choice, there is no choice. You already made the choice was made 2 seconds before you're thinking about it. So that is a very controversial, very but heavy data driven. It is a solidly proven. You can repeat that experiment. So Benjamin Libet experiment is a very thought provoking experiment. It's a law of karma. There is no free will for you. Your karma is determined. That's what it says. It is the strangest experiment he did. But I'm gonna. That is through the electricity EEG. They put EEG on the brains and they did this test. So electrical signals. That is electricity found out. And the you can jump in anytime, Julie. The most of the electronics you see, our phone, our computers, and all those things, the carriers of electricity. Electricity is a movement of electrical charge. A lot of people misunderstanding. A lot of times, movement of electrical charge. The charge is a quality of the particle. So, movement of electric charge is the electricity. So carriers are different in the electrons. You can my phone or your computers. These electrons carry those charge, but in the body is different. In the carriers are ions, calcium ion, sodium ion, potassium ion, chlorine. All those ions will carry these potentials. They carry electric charge. So there's a difference between the biology and the electronics, but the quality is the same. The electric charge is the same. So history from the beginning of electricity. Who is the doctor? His name is Dr. Giovanni Aldini. He is born in 1762 in Bologna, Italy. Bologna is a very educational center in Italy. So he was he was doing experiment on the frogs. He connect the frog head and a dead frog. He takes a dead frog and connect the through copper wire both of them, and what happens is the the frog is moving, shaking. He said that there is a life force. He thought that there was a life force. He wrote a book called Animali Electricitati, is called. So it was a runaway big bestseller. So he was saying there is a life force in the dead people. That's what he said. But he wanted to extend to humans. That is experiment. His uncle is a Galvani. He's a very famous guy. But Vatican said that you cannot touch the dead bodies in Italy. Vatican is a very powerful system there, the religious Catholic system. So they said that you cannot do any dead body. So he wanted to test the dead bodies with electricity. So he went to London. Sorry, he went to London. London, there is an exception. If somebody is executed, they can take that body and they do the testing. So somebody killed his wife and children in the river in 18th January 1803. George Foster, his name actually. So he was executed, and they got their body. So he moved to London. the Judge Giovanni Aldini moved to London to test the electricity. So he called all the doctors, all the surgeons around the country, Italy, around Europe, and in the Newgate, he did the experiment to demonstrate electricity, the life force in the dead body. So he connected. He took a battery from another Italian, Alessandro Volta. His name is Alessandro Volta. Oh, the first battery is a zinc plates or iron plates, zinc plates. They're all, and then put a salt inside, salt brain clothes. You take a cloth and put in the salt water, put in between these zincs. It creates electricity. It became a first battery. So Alessandro, that's why voltage, he said 9 volts, 10 volts came from this inventor called Alessandro Volta. He is actually competitor for his uncle, but voltage came from his name, Alessandro Volta. So the first battery used against the dead body. The doctor, Dr. Aldi, he's a doctor. The Giovanni Aldini is a doctor actually. So what happened was when he put together this dead body, woke up, shivering, contorting, and all those things happened. That was actually the guy. One of the guys died with a heart attack right there. He thought there is a demon there. That's kind of some kind of spirit coming out, and one guy is drop dead. So they give us such a powerful electricity. It is contorting. It is a so so he's saying that there is a force. So that's where the Mary Shelley came in. Actually, that happened 30 years before that. Their father, Mary Shelley's father, was talking uh, about the electricity experiment on the dead bodies and how they contorted, how they woke up. So she wrote a runaway bestseller, the most horror story. Generation of children were scared to death because of her, and she wrote the first book called Frankenstein. That is the inspiration of the doctor who tried to who tried to use the electricity on the dead body. That's what the inspiration for the Frankenstein book for Mary Shelley. The Frankenstein that became a part of the world history. So electricity. So the electricity was wherever there is electricity, there is a magnetism. They're like twins, same force, like twins, manifestation of same force. Electricity is there. There is a magnetism there. If there is a magnetism, there is electricity there too. So the Michael Faraday found the electricity actually that he gave experiment in England, and then James Maxwell gave a mathematical structure. What is the mathematics behind all these electromagnetic waves, electromagnetism? These are the two pillars of science behind the electromagnetic force. So it changed the world. Industrial revolution changed the world from there onwards. Another one is a true hero is a Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla is the first one actually. He did do the X-rays. In fact, he called shadowgraphs. He was not that paid attention to it, but it is called shadowgraphs. He did that. The second one is diathermy. Now they're using the physical therapy diathermy with the heat, generating heat and then going to the body. So he did something in the world of medicine. So heart, muscles, and brain, they're all measuring. We measure the electricity through all of the organs. We know exactly the diagnosis. If they do, people like Julie can do the diagnosis, and Julie and Susan can. That's what they do. The first EKG machine. Sorry, this is if we invented the William Enthoven, I think Enthoven invented the first EKG machine, 600 pounds. He won the Nobel Prize for that. So think about EKG machine now. It is a six. So now we can measure all of them through electricity, heart with the ECG, electrocardiogram, and then brain with the EEG, electroencephalograph. Actually, you can put that thing, and then EMG, electromagnetic myography. So you can do the nerve conductions and the muscle, the nerve conductions, nerves how they're passing the current. So we can measure the electricity through this equipment. Now these are standard of the care in the medical field. Julie is already familiar. But the question comes to you is if there is electricity, I said that there is a magnetism. How come we don't measure the magnetism? That is heart of that advances what is going on right now. Heart has so heart also has a magnetic field. Brain has a magnetic field. Brain is a 10 volts battery, actually 10 volts, the 10 volts light bulb actually. So there is wherever there is electricity, there is a magnetism. How come we are not measuring the magnetism? Because Earth's magnetic power is so strong. Is our this magnetic power is so big. It's hard to measure. That was so nobody touched it for decades and decades until recently. That is new things coming up. It's called optically pumped magnetometer. Is a magnetometer is a is a this is a this is a squid super quantum imposition device is a quantum device. All these squid devices they call squid super quantum imposition devices. These are squids. These are room temperature. They work on the room temperature. Used to be cryogenics before. Then they can measure the it can pinpoint where the exact problem is. Now there's a new sensors I'm working on. I'm one of the platform I'm working on. It's a diamond sensors. Diamonds are the greatest sensors of the cancer. So the diamonds and the opium. This is a new squid. These are quantum sensors. Both are quantum sensors. You know what is the advantage of these ones? It can deduct the Earth's magnetic field. It can exclude all the other magnetism and pick up the problematic magnetism in the brain. Epilepsy circuits. It can do epilepsy circuits. It can recognize epilepsy circuits, exactly what is causing epilepsy. Addiction circuits, alcohol, alcohol addiction, drug addiction. These are circuits light up. And then depression circuits, you can find out, and then you can do even pain circuits can be detected and modulated and deactivated. Can you believe that? That is a one of the powerful quantum sensors that are coming to the market. They are already detecting now. At this time, they are using it. So we are entering the new world of sensors. Magnetism is a so. Thank you for watching. I'll bring Julie back to the stage. Let me. What do you think, Julie?
Wow, I just learned a whole lot from you. That was a great presentation. Thank you, Ramana.
Yeah, thank you. Just I want to give a future a little bit that as a physicist, that's one thing is I wanted to kind of connect to healthcare and physics together, and then go on and people think about the futuristic world, how that world could be. That's my goal. But these are all things for people like you that what we went through. You are still smiling and laughing, and you are one of the true champion for this kind of things. You are the great representation of. I cannot imagine the pain you went through, the dark times, and still you're a hero. Nurses have that ability. Let me ask you: if you change a policy on the liver transplantation, just let us talk about liver transplant. If you want to change the policy in Canada, what would be the one policy you like to change and to solve the problems right now? Is a big obstacle for you.
So I think the first step would be opt in or opt out, actually. So when you get your license, that's usually when you, back in the day, because I sometimes feel 300 years old. Back in the day, you used to sign your donor card or sign the back of your license. Now it's all electronic. But I would say the first step would be that you are automatically an organ donor when you decide not to be. So it's hard because you can be an organ donor and your family can actually override your wishes. So if you're on a
Oh, yeah.
if you're on a ventilator and your family says no, I don't think so, they can override you because you can't tell them, even though you've signed your donor card. So opting out means you're automatically an organ donor. And if there's some reason medically, culturally, religiously that you can't be an organ donor, that's one thing. Then we know that it's just not something that you've thought about a couple times. oh yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to signing up, and you don't. I was guilty of that. I wasn't an organ donor until I had to be. So opting out,
The great
yeah,
That's a really good advocacy, because if I decide I want to donor organ, there is no, should not be any. Already, I decided what I need, what I want to do. That there's no other people to be involved. I mean, even the families, because it is nothing to do with the family. I'm the individually. I want to do something good for science. That is you are absolutely right. It should be just automatically until you say I am opting out. That's a great cause to work on. What about the world? I mean, India. Do you know anything about other countries? What they go through? This liver transplantation is a challenges in Africa and any other countries. Do you know a little bit about
so
it?
I think in those countries the technology isn't as there that it would be in North America. They don't have the expertise per se, but that's something that I want to change as well. Even if you're living in Africa and India, or you're living in a first world country, you should be able to have access to those those transplants and to the medical knowledge. So if that means it's AI or like a transplant or cancer cloud where everybody puts research and dissemination from their papers that they write, it's really important that we share knowledge and research, so it benefits everybody, not just at home.
Thank you. Thanks, the Julie. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure joining with me. It is a truly an honor to have you on the podcast, and it is a really. I hats off to you what you went through personally. And then your contributions are immeasurable in my view. Thank you as being a friend and great advocacy. You're a great advocate for the world of cancer, transplants, and organ donors. Anything you want to say? Final word. Go ahead and please tell me.
I just want to say thank you for having me and giving me this platform to change lives. We said why us, but why not us? So I'm thankful to you, Romana, for reaching out to me, and I'm grateful. If you ever need anything, please, for anybody listening, if you need to reach out, if you need information, I speak all over the world internationally. So please reach out and I'd be happy to get in touch with you.
Thank you all. Good night, Julie. Good night. So thank you, Susan. Have a good time. Good night, all of you.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it.